Did like Drake said he's having trouble getting in? Did like
Keep admitting him.
he said give him 1 second. He said it must be his Zoom account being weird.
Okay. I admitted him a couple times. It says he's joining.
Yeah, he said he's trying it again.
Okay. I'm
like Drake said he's having trouble getting in. Did like
oops. Keep admitting him. Okay, sorry for the double tier. I was getting into YouTube. That always happens and I get confused. Okay. Yeah, Drake's in the waiting room, but I'll keep trying to help him get in. But we're good to go.
Okay, cool. Okay, welcome guys. Sorry about the slight delay. But we're about to get started. So I hereby call this meeting to order at 5:35 p.m. Senator Chang, can you please do the roll call?
President Moore.
Here.
Chief Wortman.
Okay, he's coming, so.
Director Lauer.
Here.
Director Trubach.
Here.
Director Watkins.
Here.
Director Dingy. Director Taylor.
Here.
Director Rodriguez.
Here.
Director Nepsui.
Here.
Director Aguinaga.
Here.
Senator Dalzell.
Here.
Senator John. Senator Chang, present. Senator Riley.
Here.
Senator Farland.
Here.
Senator Allen.
Here.
Senator Paris.
Here.
Senator Esperson.
Here.
Senator Klein. Senator Evans.
Present.
Senator Campisi.
Present.
Senator Gomez.
Present.
Senator Lauderdale.
Present.
Senator Palucci.
Here.
Senator Suresh.
Here.
Senator Jackson.
Here.
Intern Alvarino.
Here.
And Advisor Factor Page.
Here.
Okay, thank you, Senator Chang. So moving on to the adoption of the agenda. Does anyone have any objections to the agenda as presented via Slack? Okay, seeing none, the agenda is adopted by unanimous consent. Moving on to public contributions. I don't know if Chief Wortman was here, that he was going to introduce them tonight, but I don't think he's.
Sierra, I'm here, but I had to use a different device because of my laptop just not working for no reason. Not really sure why, but I can't see the agenda, so I just would need to know the name.
Yeah, so we have Melissa Zulo, which for the testing strategy proposal. I think she's here.
Are you ready for me to go?
Yeah.
Yes.
Whenever you're ready.
Hold on a second. I'll turn my camera on. So I'm gonna turn my camera on, but you need to know that I got a black eye because I broke my nose yesterday. So I look like Harry Potter when Hermione hit him with the spell in the forest and gave him a black eye. So, but anyway, thanks for having us. I have Jennifer Abate here also. She's from the Provost's office. We've been working with the Prevention Task Force this semester on the testing plan for the current semester, as well as the testing plan for spring semester. So I'm going to go over with you what our plan is for spring semester. And if you guys have some feedback for us, what you think will work, what you think won't work, if you think students will be receptive to this plan, that would be great. So I'm going to share my screen. Oh, I can't share my screen. That's okay. I'll just click over here and go through what I was going to talk to you about. So
Try again, Melissa. You should be able to.
let me try again. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so just briefly, I'm going to talk about the plan for move-in testing, the plan for testing during the semester, which we call high volume, high frequency testing, course recommendations, and the random testing plan. So there's a couple different testing plans for spring semester. Oh, there we go. Okay. I'm not Zoom savvy. I use the Teams format for most of my online meetings, so forgive me. So, okay, the plan is for spring semester that we're going to test all students who move into the residence halls before they move into the residence halls. And the testing will take place on campus. So students won't be able to bring a test from home, and I'll tell you why that's important in a minute. But we plan to test students at the Kiva, the Student Center Ballroom, or the governance chambers. That's still to be determined. And we're kind of waiting to see how many students actually move back into the residence halls before we finalize this plan. So we'll be testing the early arrivals to campus as well as the new and returning students on those dates. And then we'll repeat testing within a week of those students all moving into the residence halls. So the rationale for testing students on campus versus testing at home is because we don't know what students will be doing between the time that they get their test at home and the time that they actually move to campus. So there's a possibility that they could, go about their daily lives and go to work, become exposed to the virus after their test, and then be positive when they return to campus and not know it. So why are we doing this? Because it will identify cases at move-in and before you can spread the virus to other people. And then the repeat testing identifies those who, when they get tested at move-in and they have a low viral load, it's not registering as a positive test yet. So the repeat testing will identify those cases because they will have had time to increase their viral load. So the test that we're planning right now to use is called a swab and send test. So if any of you got tested at DeWeese during the semester, you know that you have the nasal swab, and then it takes 24 to 48 hours to get your test results. So that's called a swab and send test. Ideally, we would be able to use a rapid test, but those tests are really hard to get. We have some right now, but that came from the state, and the state is actually going to pull back from us the tests that they gave us if we don't use them by the end of the semester. So we might not be able to do a rapid test, which you would get the results in 15 minutes. So because we don't have access right now to those tests, and that might change because everything with COVID is changing and it's kind of crazy, as you know. So the plan is to do the swab and send, and you wouldn't get your results for 24 to 48 hours. And so that means that you would need to move in and quarantine in your room until you get your result. So you'd be able to leave to get food and to use the restroom, obviously. But we don't want you interacting with other students or going around to other dorms or places on campus, obviously, because that would encourage spread of the virus if you were positive and didn't know it. So if you received a positive test after 24 to 48 hours, you would go to isolation, and you'd also have a PCR test, which is, well, actually, that's kind of wrong because this is really related to that rapid test. So ignore the PCR test, but you would go to isolation and you'd stay in isolation for the 10-day period. It would probably be less than that, more like 8 days, because you have that, you're waiting for your test results. So then if you had a negative test, you would just stay in your residence hall. Okay. So the plan after move-in, this is called high frequency, high volume testing. The plan is to test everyone for the duration of the semester twice per week. The testing would take place in the residence halls because that would be just so much more convenient than having to go to DeWeese or to the Kiva to get tested. We'd probably have people sign up for a move-in or for a slot to get tested before they move in, and then you would just stick in that slot for the rest of the semester. Again, a positive test would mean going to isolation. The swab and send would have the 24 to 48 hour turnaround, but you wouldn't have to quarantine during that time for the rest of the semester because that would just be kind of silly. The rationale for doing high frequency, high volume testing is this is a really good epidemiologic approach to prevent outbreaks. So if we're testing everyone in the dorms or the residence halls twice a week, we would ideally be able to prevent outbreaks in the residence halls. And also that would probably help us to limit the quarantine orders, because this semester we were quarantining people on floors. So if there was an outbreak and an outbreak was considered 2 cases, that entire floor was being quarantined. So working with the health department, we're going to try a different approach in the spring semester where we're limiting the quarantine orders for the entire floor. That would probably look something like we are testing everyone on that floor multiple times over the course of 10 days. And then if we did have a positive case, they would be moved to isolation. But it wouldn't require everyone to be quarantined for 14 days. It would probably be a shorter quarantine duration, like 5 to 7 days. But that's something that we're working through with the City of Kent Health Department. And so I have at the bottom there modifying frequency and or volume if we have low incidence. So incidence is a new case. So if during the course of the semester, we find that we have a really low incidence of cases in the residence halls. So, we're not seeing 10%, 15% positive tests in our testing program, we might be able to lower the frequency of testing and either go to like maybe testing once per week or even doing a random testing format like we're currently doing at the Kiva. So course recommendations, it's most likely that the tier 1 courses, which are those courses that don't have like a hands-on method to them, like they're not in the arts, theater, dance, that kind of stuff. So those courses would probably start, tier 1 courses, those are the ones that are like dance and theater, I'm sorry. So the tier 1 courses, those will start in person right away, so at the beginning of the semester. The tier 2 courses would most likely start remote, and then they would start on ground on February 1st. So that though depends on what the pandemic looks like on campus in the City of Kent and also in the county. So, if we were at a purple level for the county, that's the worst level to be at. So we would not be having in-person classes if that was the case. And who knows what's going to happen in January and February. I mean, right now, if we were to stay, if we had courses on campus after Thanksgiving, we'd probably be at a purple level because of just how quickly the outbreaks are occurring and the cases are increasing. So, okay, so random testing. So this is different than testing for the residence halls. Random testing would be for students who are coming to campus for an in-person class, or if they had an on-campus job, but they lived off campus. We would try to oversample students who we would consider to be at higher risk. And those would be like students, staff, and faculty who are in theater or who are in dance or who are at the airport, because those people are usually in close proximity to one another for more than what's recommended, like 15 minutes. And then recommended groups for the random testing are students who live in the Kent community, but who don't come to campus for in-person classes, because those students are a big source of, could be a big source of community spread. And then, let's see, and then also staff and faculty who are in those high-risk areas as well, which I mentioned. So currently at the Kiva, we're testing 450 students and staff per week. And right now, that number matches up to what is recommended for capturing like the prevalence of the pandemic in the community. So it's actually less than 450. So that has been a random sample of students who are in the residence halls, as well as students who are coming to campus for an in-person class. And that's how it's going to continue for the spring semester with that random method. So I probably went through that kind of fast. So if you have questions, please let me know and I will be happy to answer them and get your thoughts on what the plan is for spring semester.
Yeah, thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question. As far as the randomized testing and testing students who are off campus, what resources would the university be given to those students? Because obviously you can't quarantine them because they're not on campus, but like what can the university do for those students?
I'm glad you brought that up because that is something that we are discussing in one of the many committees that's working on the COVID plan for fall and spring semester. We've been discussing allowing those students to do their isolation period or their quarantine on campus in one of the dorms, particularly, if they live in a congregate setting, so like a sorority or a fraternity, or if you're in an apartment with 3 or 4 other students and it's really hard to isolate yourself away from them. Sometimes you can, but probably most of the time you can't. It's like if you were at your own home and you were infected, and let's say you had your own bathroom and it was close to your bedroom. I'm doing this from my own experience because my daughter did have COVID this fall and she came home from school to do her isolation period, and she had access to her own bathroom. So in those kinds of situations, you might not have to go into a different living situation, but it's really a case-by-case basis. But I'm glad you brought that up because I will say for sure that question was asked because it is concerning.
Additional question, approximately how many times would those students, like, especially with students like working and all these different things, like how many times would the student be subject to coming in for randomized testing?
So, I mean, it is possible that with the randomized testing that you could be selected every single week. If you're pulling from all of the people who live off campus who come to campus, this semester, there was a pool of about 5,500 students that we were sampling from. So that random sample off campus coming to campus was, it was pretty hard to get pulled multiple times, but it is possible to have that happen. And it really is going to depend on the numbers of students who are coming to campus for the in-person classes. So in the fall, that was around 5,500. In the spring, it might be lower than that. It might be higher than that.
I have one last question. I'm sorry. As far as like people who are preparing, like coming back and preparing to be quarantined, is it any mental health services that are going to be offered to those students and off-campus students at that time?
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely mental health resources on campus. And there are also groups working in committees on that issue as well. The College of Public Health, where I'm at, we also have a mental health group that works on a lot of these issues. And I know that they have access to resources and they have materials that they've also provided for us recently.
Sydney, this is Dr. Hilton, and thanks, Melissa, for that answer. Just to underscore, yes, there will be the gamut of mental health services that are already provided for students will persist even during that time. So in addition to the Division of Mental Health and Substance Abuse that Melissa was just referring to, we also will have our Step Up Speak Out material still available with resources. Obviously, counseling and psychological services staff will be online. We do plan to be onboarding a more robust online mental health and counseling enterprise to give students greater access to counselors without wait times. And so, yes, my short answer to your question is yes, we will have robust mental health services available for students at the onset of the spring semester.
Thanks, Dr. Hilton.
I have a question, if it's all right. I was curious does Kent State have a plan for vaccination? Obviously, there's been a lot of big news about vaccines coming out potentially by the end of the year and then available to about a third of America by middle of March. So there's going to be a plan for Kent State to work with either the state or the federal government to gain access to that vaccine, and will it be free through Kent State or whatever program they use? And then one question stacked on top of that is, will vaccines be required for students to attend Kent State for the fall semester?
Yeah, so I will say that there are no decisions that have been made about the vaccine being mandatory, but it is in conversations right now. And we also have had discussions about how to have vaccination clinics on campus too. Really, realistically, 50% of the country won't be able to start accessing the vaccine until summer. So that would be something that we'd be looking more at for fall. And I expect that we would be addressing that in committees during the spring semester. Yeah, but that's a good question. I mean, it is important, and those vaccine trials are really exciting to see what the results are. So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Do you have any other questions?
I don't have a question, but I do just want to say thank you for this transparency. This information is really appreciated. And although it's not set in stone, I'm also a resident assistant on campus. And I will say that this seems extremely beneficial to students in their comfort level being on campus. And I know for a fact that my residents would appreciate it.
that's really nice to hear. I mean, that, the goal really is to keep the students and the staff and faculty healthy and protect everyone, as well as, preventing spread in the community. So I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
And Ethan, let me just also say that the encouragement of being transparent and consultative with our student body, particularly key student groups such as this one, is ever important as we are making these shifts. As I shared with Dr. Zullo when this plan was coming forward, my biggest thing was making sure that this got in front of as many students as possible before we started the implementation so that questions could get answered and that we can have clarity on our process and procedure moving forward before we even leave for the fall break. So you can expect that Dr. Zullo will pop up in several other meetings this week. She's kind of on a road show for the next few days, meeting with key student leaders, fraternities, sororities. She met with KIC yesterday. She's meeting with you all today. And so it was very important for us to make sure that there was a consultative process among our students, especially who would be affected by these decisions, to make sure that you all knew, again, what you would be expected to know and to understand about your spring experience. And I also encourage you that when you're encountering other students who may not be in these rooms, that you point students to either Dr. Zullo or Julie Volchek or somebody to get their questions answered. We want to make sure that the right information is out there and that information gets to students in a timely way. So if you encounter students within your own peer circles that have questions or are hearing different things that are contrary to what you've heard, please make sure that they are pointed to the right resources and the right pieces of information so that, again, that communication flow can be consistent.
Alrighty, well, if you don't have any other questions, thank you, Melissa, so much for coming in and speaking to us. And thank you, Dr. Hilton, as well. I know transparency with the student body is something that Sierra and myself spent all summer asking for, especially. So it is really, really cool to see us included in this conversation. Especially as undergraduate group of representatives. So after that, Melissa, you can feel free to head out whenever you would like. We will have another speaker from Student Legal Services. So Jameson, if you are here, you can go ahead and get started whenever.
Thanks, everybody. If anybody has questions or comments, you can always send me an email, and you can find me on the College of Public Health website. Okay? Thank you.
All right. My name is Jameson Offenier. I think most of you know me, but I know we used to get together over the summer for a business lunch that wasn't able to happen this year. So I thought it'd be a good idea just to let you guys know what we've been up to. Obviously with the Office of Student Legal Services. For those of you that don't know, Student Legal Services is a nonprofit law firm. We provide legal representation and advice exclusively to the students attending KSU. So we have been fully operational. Our physical office is closed to the public and to our clients under most circumstances. However, in every other sense, that we continue to provide the same level of representation that we have always had in the past. Really, the only tangible difference would be that our client consultations are are now being handled over the phone rather than in person in our office. And it's actually kind of been a welcome change, I think, to most students. They'd rather, very busy and rather not have to come down to the office. So a phone call seems to work just fine. In some cases, we will use Zoom, but typically it's just a phone call. Students just email their documents over to us so we can take a look at everything they have, lease agreements and the like. The only time we really have students come in the office would be if we drafted a will or an affidavit or some type of healthcare power of attorney that needs to be witnessed or notarized. We do bring students in. We had a plexiglass and mask wearing. Everything's socially distanced. We don't have that. We don't have really that much staff. We've been kind of running a skeleton crew with just Stacy Sandrock, our paralegal, and then Chris Estax, the other attorney here. So no student secretaries at the time. We're still seeing students in person at court. So the court has basically been fully operational as well. In the beginning of the pandemic, it was more us handling hearings over the phone with the prosecutors, but eventually that it opened back up and we were going in to court with students. However, a lot of times with some of the minor cases, we're able to work everything out without the student even having to show up to court. So that's certainly convenient for them. I'd say we've remained relatively busy this year, similar quantity of cases, but the total is comprised of a different variety of case. We're definitely seeing a significant increase in landlord-tenant cases, students seeking advice on how to terminate their lease agreement. A lot of students were finding it unnecessary to live in Kent due to having only online classes, and we're looking for advice on their options to maybe get out of a lease. There's not a lot of options. There never really has been, and nothing's really changed with respect to the pandemic regarding that particular issue. I mean, we typically tell students that it's a contract, and there are ways under the Landlord-Tenant Act to get out of that contract if there are conditions with the apartment that are not sufficient. But otherwise, they're typically breaking the lease and then hoping that the lease is replaced, or the landlord's able to release the apartment and mitigate their damages. And then some landlords have actually agreed to like a settlement for a release. A student will agree to pay a few more months in exchange for getting released from the lease agreement. So just a variety of different ways that we've tried to address that concern. Defending evictions as well. That's something that's kind of come up lately a little bit more frequently. There is a CDC eviction moratorium that we've been utilizing. In certain circumstances, a student or person can file it's essentially like an affidavit with the court indicating that they meet certain parameters, allowing them to utilize the CDC moratorium. Just in general, quickly, those would include they make less than $99,000 a year, unable to make a full rent payment, and they have suffered a substantial loss of income, that they were continuing to use their best efforts to make timely payments, and that if they were evicted, that they would likely become homeless. That has worked, and we're using that right now. The bad part of it is that it only lasts till December 31st. As of right now, that might change if we see that extended. Another negative aspect is that it halts the eviction. It keeps them in the apartment or the house, but the total is still there. So they would still owe all the money at the end, and that's that could be certainly a problem. We are seeing a lot, let's say much fewer calls for misdemeanor criminal defense. That used to be a large quantity of our cases, fewer underage drinking charges, marijuana possession, DUI, et cetera. I mean, that seems to be an obvious product of the pandemic: less students, fewer parties, less people with the downtown life. The one charge I wouldn't say that has dwindled too much is the unlawful noise charge. We'll still see quite a bit of those. They've remained pretty steady. I don't think it's necessarily been more than before. We were concerned that maybe Kent PD was kind of using the noise ordinance as a proxy to regulate COVID restrictions, but I mean, there's always that the noise is the reason why they show up, and that was always the case in the past. Kent has, kind of remains to be seen if Kent's new mass gathering ordinance will replace such actions by the police. We have not had any students contact us who received a citation for that civil infraction. Just to kind of, if you're not familiar with that, it was an ordinance recently passed by the city of Kent that prohibits people from hosting, maintaining, participating in a mass gathering, which is essentially defined as greater than 10 non-household persons at the same time, both indoor and outdoor gatherings. There are many exceptions to that. And just to keep in mind, if a student does receive one of those citations, that they have to act quickly. They only have 10 days from the date of receiving the notice to file their request for a hearing on that. So we would need to get that pretty quickly in order to get one of those hearing requests sent in. And I really don't know how those hearings will go down. It remains to be seen if they actually do end up enforcing this. It seemed like they wanted to get it out before Halloween occurred, but it's my understanding that Halloween wasn't much of anything this year. So I don't know if they intend to enforce this later on or under only special circumstances, but if they do, we hope that students contact us, and we would be happy to help them navigate this, potentially even doing research to consider whether or not there's any First Amendment violations, freedom of assembly violations with this ordinance, whether or not it's constitutional. But that just remains to be seen. So if you have any questions for me and what we've been up to, or if you have questions regarding anything else that might be relevant to our services, be happy to answer them.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
And thank you for coming to speak to us. I just am curious, and I guess that this would probably be good for the rest of the student government to know, if any student is seeking help with like a lease or any sort of legal help that they would need from Student Legal Services, is that something that they are charged for when they go to see you guys, or is that something that when you pay to be a Kent State student, it comes with it?
Yeah, essentially, there is a $10 fee that you pay with your tuition at the beginning of the year, and that $10 fee covers all of your legal fees, so all your attorney fees. So you don't pay us anything more after that. It's reassessed every semester. Obviously, if there's any court fees or fines or filing fees, that sort of thing, that would be the student's responsibility. But as far as attorney's fees, no, that's it. That's all you pay is that $10. So, and that's assessed with the tuition, so you don't have to like opt into the program or anything like that. Good question.
Does anyone else have any questions? Thank you so much for all that information. No, I don't think we have another question. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, you don't have to stay for the rest of our meeting if you don't want to, so feel free to leave at any time.
All right. Thank you for having us, and hopefully this summer we can get together again for lunch.
Yeah, hopefully. So do we have any other public contributions today? I know Ann Meyer had something to share. Might as well do anything we have to say now, or we can wait till the end, I suppose.
I can talk now. I just wanted to thank you guys for the learning experience that I'm having with all of you this semester. It's been great being able to listen to your meetings and all the work that you guys are doing for the student body. in the middle of this pandemic. So I just wanted to take a moment to tell you guys that. So.
Well, thank you so much. Okay, and do we have any other public contributions today?
Tiara, this is Dr. Hilton. Can I just say one quick word?
Yeah, sure.
I want to echo what Ann just said, to thank you all immensely for the great work you've done. We are just 2 days away from transitioning to a fully remote environment after being in and on campus in an in-person experience for the last 2.5 months. Candidly and transparently, there were many people that thought we would not make it to see November the 20th in person. There were times where people felt like we were going to have to go fully remote much sooner. But I think because of the great planning that the university has done, particularly throughout the summer, to prepare us for the fall, and then being able to be diligent and work that plan once it was developed, to be nimble, to pivot when needed, to be able to be flexible when needed, really allowed for us to see the fullness of our in-person experience for the fall semester. And a large part of that planning could not have taken place without the diligent, informed perspectives of our student leaders like yourselves. And so I really, really do want to thank you, President Moore, and your entire administration, the leaders within our undergraduate student government who have provided countless hours of feedback and perspective. You have challenged us, you have pushed us, you have caused us to think differently and critically about how we are deploying the experience for our students at Kent State. And none of that has gone unnoticed, and all of that is very much appreciated. And so I just wanted to take a very quick time to just thank you again. We have one down and one to go. We don't know what the next semester will hold for us, but what I am encouraged by is just the engagement of our students. And I know that we will weather whatever challenges await us ahead with our student leaders being the way that they are on our campus this year. I couldn't ask for a better and more engaged student body. So thank you all so much for the great work that you've done over the course of this semester.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hilton. That really means a lot. I know me and all my colleagues are working very hard to assist you all in making Kent State University a better place. And it really means a lot to, hear and see that we're being acknowledged, for all of our hard work. So thank you so much for those kind words. I think we can move on to public contributions. We also have general orders later on. So if anyone has anything to add for the good of the order, after we get through all that, we can do that later on. So now we're going to be moving on to the report of absences, and seeing none, we can move on to the adoption and approval of the minutes from our last meeting. Does anyone have any objections to the minutes from November 4th as presented in Slack? Okay, seeing none, the minutes are adopted by unanimous consent. Senator Chang, we can move on to reports.
President Moore.
So hi everyone, I'm sure you guys are already ready for a much needed break. I know I definitely am. So right now I'm serving on the Strategic Enrollment Management Committee with Chief Wortman. We had a really good first meeting, and we're going to be joining some subcommittees in the coming weeks. So I'll definitely keep you all updated on that. I was also nominated to join the University Diversity Action Council, and I attended the opening retreat this past week, which is very nice. I was also invited to read a promise for our first generation college students at the I Am First celebration, which is also a very nice event. Director Watkins, Director Rodriguez, and myself had a meeting to discuss USG programming. I really appreciate them both for all the work they've been putting into our virtual programs this year. And I really hope that you guys all attend our upcoming event with Issa Rae this Thursday. I'm super looking forward to that. A reporter from TV2 is doing a profile on me this week, so stay tuned for that. I know a couple of you got interviewed about that, so I hope you guys said great things about me. Other than that, I met with intern Alvarino and discussed some ideas she had about COVID research, which I presented to administration via email, and learned that they're going to be implementing some of that stuff next semester, which is really exciting. If you guys want to learn more about that, just let me know. I can send you the document about that specific research. I also had conversations with various members of administration about some concerns about international students, which are being addressed. So I'm really happy about that. And I was going to be attending the Student Leadership Advisor Group tonight, but that was unfortunately canceled. But other than that, this week I have another meeting to work on planning with the Elect Her initiative with the Women's Senator, and I'll also be attending the Kent State Votes meeting later this week. Thank you.
Thank you, President Moore. Chief Wortman.
Hello, everyone. Give me 1 sec to get my report pulled up. It just popped away from me. Okay, I hope all is well. I'm serving on the Strategic Enrollment Committee, like Tiara said, under VP Parker. That one's really cool because there is about like 60 faculty members on that committee, and then just 2 students, which is our Tiara and myself. I just also recently completed an interview with TV2 about being Chief of Staff under Tiara. And then I just did want to let you guys know that we have closed the office until we come back in the spring. Tiara, Megan, and myself were talking, and we just felt like that was the best option given the rising amount of cases, and we are just almost there to the end. So we just decided to go ahead and shut it down. So if you do need anything from the office, just let me know and I can make sure that we get that to you. Reports are not going to be required this upcoming Sunday because of the holiday. And I do want to remind you guys that there is still plenty of time to complete projects, but it is going to go really, really fast. The election season does take up a large chunk of the spring semester, and that was something that I absolutely did not expect to happen last year. But even for people who aren't running again, it just is a crazy time. There's a lot going on, a lot of campaigns being run. So I would advise if you have any major projects in the back of your head that you want to get done before your term is over, you start working on that very soon, just because, like I said, it will go much faster than you expect. But other than that, just reach out with any questions and keep working hard. I'm very proud of you guys, and I'm also happy that we were able to have our public contributions today. I feel like those were a really good reminder of why we're working so hard. So thanks, guys, and I will talk to you guys later.
Thank you, Chief Wortman. Director Lauer.
Hello, everyone. So I don't have that much to report. I do want to say that with some numbers coming back from election week, it was a success with 5.8 million votes and counting for Ohio and high youth turnout. I had my final meeting with SEEP Ohio Director Nate Hall and his Assistant Director Brenna Limbrick. We discussed the transition to a new fellow next year, as well as designating advisors and finding or raising money to fund that fellowship and possibly a second fellowship. I also scheduled meetings with the Kent State Votes Coalition and the Committee on Governmental Affairs for Thursday and Friday of this week. I'm excited to get back with them post-election and work on some projects for the end of the semester and next semester. And lastly, I continued my outreach with the ambassadorship program. Keep up the good work, y'all. We love to see it.
Thank you, Director Lauer. Director Trubach.
Hi, everyone. This past week, my main focus was on the preparation for the Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week donation drive. Director Dingy and I were able to purchase boxes for the donations, as well as brainstorm and get some flyers made, so the boxes are up for donations. I also just want to encourage you all to donate if you can. We're looking for non-perishable foods and hats and gloves, which can all be found at Dollar Tree. Along with this, I was able to meet with Uber to explore commuter options on our campus and kind of see what that program would look like. And lastly, I was able to be involved in the Frontline Workers video shoot for Kent State.
Thank you, Director Trubach. Director Watkins.
Hey everybody, last week I spoke with Signal Design to come up with a new design for the upcoming Easter Rape virtual event. So this is our second design that you're actually seeing. And after going through multiple designs, we were finally able to come up with the one that was posted. I also spent time with my board last week to discuss how and what we would like to plan for next semester, and Director Rodriguez was invited to the meeting as we plan to be closer for communication going forward. I spent a great amount of time researching artists and other possible guests to come up with a list to provide our middle agent when coming up with offer letters for next semester. And I also have some other ideas that may possibly be in the works. I've been talking to advisor Factor Page about that, but I have a lot of plans for next semester compared to what we were able to do this semester. So be on the lookout for all of that.
Thank you, Director Watkins. Director Taylor.
Hello, everyone. In the past week, I finished up the training materials for judicial advocates that I've been talking about for a couple of weeks. As of right now, I have met with 2 students in the past couple of weeks to educate them on the hearing process. I also volunteered for a video at the university to thank our frontline Golden Flash workers. And then in the coming weeks, I will continue recruiting JAs as usual. I rescheduled the meeting with JAs, which will be happening this Sunday if anyone else wants to participate. That's where I'll be giving that further training on what it means to be a judicial advocate. And then I'm also reaching out to the proper departments and people about a project idea I had, which you guys will be hearing in the next couple of weeks as well. Go Flashes.
Thank you, Director Taylor. Director Rodriguez.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so this week I was able to go to Director Watkins' programming committee, as he mentioned already, just to get on track with everything that's going on and have better communication for next semester. On top of that, I was able to promote the Issa Rae event for Thursday. I'm super excited to be working with the programming committee members. And I finally got USG masks that came in on Friday. These are what they look like. I apologize if you have not gotten one already, but I will be leaving them in the office tomorrow. And I just wanted to remind everyone that this is the last week to participate in the Mask Up KSU contest. Make sure to take advantage of that and the prizes that we are offering.
Thank you, Director Rodriguez. Senator Suresh.
Hey everyone, I hope you all had a good week and everybody's doing well. This week is the International Education Week. Me, along with Office of Global Education, have been planning for a few events. Since this week is short and it isn't in person, we don't have a lot of in-person events. We have 2 in-person events, one which was a part of the IHOP, and we had 4 other events yesterday and on Monday. Apart from that, I'm working ahead with the International Admissions Office to push for or to advocate for a possible visa requirement change. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Suresh. Director Nepsui.
Hi, everyone. I just have a couple things to report on. I've been serving on the CAO and the search for the Dean of the Katz College. For those of you guys that don't know what it is, it's a very unique college that isn't located on the Kent campus. And I've been helping with the Dean search for that. And I've also met with Dr. Tankersley, discussed other roles that the CAO will be searching for. I've worked with the Committee on Health and Megan Factor-Page and the Dean of Students for the mental health care packages. And we're working on getting everything ordered. Unfortunately, we may have to push off to spring semester just to timing of shipping and everything, but I'll still be working on that initiative. I've also been aiding with the Mental Health Coalition, which planning Mental Health Week, and I've also got to help and do the Flashes Rise Above program that I hosted on a couple Fridays ago. And shout out to Senator Evans for helping me for that program. I also went to Faculty Senate and attended the meeting. Nothing too big to report from there, but one cool but interesting update is that the university will be transitioning away from Blackboard in the coming years. So I need the underclassmen, please start preparing for that transition. I also worked to write legislations for student in isolation for the Care Packages Initiative, and I also attended the Education Policy Council meeting discussing graduate and undergraduate programs being 100% online. And finally, not on my report, but like Marissa said, I was with other students on USG doing the video that Kent is doing for all of our frontline workers. Thank you guys all so much.
Thank you, Director Nepsui. Director Agonaga.
Hello. This week, the Allocations Committee allocated $5,000 to the World Music Society for their programming event. The program is the School of Music Virtual Collaborative Concert featuring Etienne Charles. The vote passed unanimously 7-0. The program will be taking place next year, March 25th to March 26th. feel free to add it to your calendars so we can show some support for our student organizations. In addition to that funding, we voted on a refund for the World Music Society. The vote passed 6-1. The refund was for last year's program event that was canceled, which gave around $400 back for a lost plane ticket. Although we've only had 2 program requests, I think we should be seeing more as the year progresses due to a more positive outlook on vaccination for COVID-19. And in addition to that, the university taking more steps to keep everybody safe. Please continue to share the opportunities we have to offer with your student organizations. And that's it for my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Aguinagua. Senator Dotsell.
Good evening, everyone. Hope all is doing well. These past few weeks, I've been able to really talk to peers within my college and others to discuss how things are going and how the semester went related to classes within the College of Architecture. It was nice to be able to talk with the dean last week and bring up some thoughts I had and concerns I may have had, along with some things that have gone well this semester. And we were able to bounce some ideas back about the semester coming ahead. Later this week, I have another meeting with a director of a college to discuss more in depth about curriculums and things that I've heard and seen that could be better. Also, like others, I was able to participate in the Frontline Workers video on the nice brisk day. And I had an idea for a video that I ran by the University Communications and Marketing, and I'm looking to hear back from that and their thoughts and how I can get involved with that. But thank you all, and have a good break.
Thank you, Senator Dotsell. Senator John.
Hello, everyone. So this past week, I was able to attend the Dean Student Advisory Council meeting, and that was our last meeting for the semester, where we discussed information, where I shared information about our current initiatives and discussed the end of the semester for the College of the Arts. I don't have a lot to report. I was also able to meet with some of my student organizations. So that was all that I was able to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator John. Senator Chang. Hello, everyone. Not much the previous week besides I wrote letters for students in quarantine on campus. I also volunteered to put together care packages with the Committee on Health. I had an interview with a student on the future of Kent State votes. I emailed the Flash Activities Board to collaborate with the Committee on Health. And I had a meeting with my senatorial committee to discuss collaborating with the Period Project and the Committee on Health. And I emailed confirmations to Alan Warren on ambassadorships. I hope everyone has a nice and relaxing break. Thank you. Senator Riley.
Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's hanging in there. I know a lot of people, including me, are anticipating Thanksgiving break. This past week, I've been continuing to work on preparing for the upcoming video for the Period Project. Once again, if you are interested or you know someone who would be interested in appearing in the video, please let me know. I'm currently reaching out to student organizations and students who have expressed interests in being in the video, and I would greatly appreciate having as many people in the video as possible. I've also been continuing to work on creating a informational video with my associate dean of my college about different student organizations in the college, which I'm excited about. I think it'll be great for students to see all the opportunities that are available for them. That's about it currently. I'm just also researching for future legislation as well. I hope everyone has a safe and happy break.
Thank you, Senator Riley. Senator Farland.
Hello, everyone. This past week, I revised documents for the CTI mentorship program for Curriculum Services Director Kathy Zingrone. She presented my ideas to the directors of CCI, and they wanted to add a tutoring element to the program. So I had to revise the executive summary, mentorship expectations, the application, and another document that will help market the program. She said that she is working on the application and would provide me with an update soon. We're just trying to get everything in order so we can start the program next semester. And then I also was able to attend the advisory committee on academic assessment on Thursday. The meeting was focused on remote learning and feedback from students. And I'm having another senatorial meeting on Friday, and that's it.
Thank you, Senator Farland. Senator Allen.
Hello, everyone. Hope all is well. Over the last couple weeks, I have met with my dean, where we discussed what I had discussed with my committee the week prior. I ran by him a few ideas, including the mentorship / social sort of informal mentoring type deal we had tried to put forth. And then so he had me meet with another administrator where I discussed with her the same idea, and we sort of bounced some things off of each other, and she pointed out a few flaws in the ideas. And so I went ahead and bounced those ideas and those suggestions off my committee. And so now we're sort of in the process of forming something more concrete. And hopefully by the end of the semester, we'll be able to start going forward with that. And then this week here, I will also be meeting with the Intercollegiate Athletic Committee. And yeah, hope everyone has a great break.
Thank you, Senator Allen. Senator Paris.
Hey y'all, hope everyone's doing well. Last week I was able to make some headway on a couple different things with my senatorial committee. Today I've been running a social media event for the Honors College through Instagram to scope out unique study spots on campus. My committee and I have also been planning an event for the start of the spring semester that's centered around organizing their personal space in a way that increases productivity and makes it feel more personalized to them. Additionally, I'm excited to get the Honors College involved in the donation drive that Director Trubach has been putting together for this week. Lastly, I've been working more with Director Dingy on a transportation initiative by putting together background research and a student survey with intern Alvarino. I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Paris. Senator Esperson.
Hi everyone. In the previous weeks, I've been working on writing letters for the Committee on Health's Care Package project, and I met with Chanel on Thursday, and we talked about some of the basic plans for things the committee will be working on next semester, and we worked on the letters together. I reached out to the orgs I'm the ambassador for, and I will be holding meetings with them sometime early next month. I finalized my plan for the nursing hangouts that I've been working on. And lastly, I had a new idea to create a video with some of the nursing faculty to encourage and almost thank the nursing students for their hard work this year. So that's something I hope to be working on and get out by the beginning of next semester. And thanks everyone. I hope you all have an awesome break.
Thank you, Senator Esperson. Senator Evans.
Hi everyone. So last week I had the privilege of assisting Director Nesby with his mental health coalition presentation. There I talked about my experience during the crazy time of COVID, so I was happy to share that. Monday, I've been working with the university and the Integrative Council on plots. If you don't know what plots are, they're for Black or historically Black organizations and culturally based organizations in order to show that they are present on campus and that our community is thriving. And so I can't tell everybody much, but we did pick a location, so I'm very excited to share that. Furthermore, I met with a professor in the College of Public Health. Her name is Chelsea, on certifying public health students as far as CPR, first aid, and AED training. So that hopefully that will be provided next semester through our programming. Additionally, I will be participating in the public health virtual site tour through the Council of Education, and I will be a student ambassador for that, talking about my experience with the College of Public Health and everything that, every opportunity that comes with it. And more projects will be coming. And yeah, I hope everybody has a great break and go Flashes.
Thank you, Senator Evans. Senator Campisi.
Hello, everyone. I hope you all had a good week since we last met. This week, I met with Amanda Shaw, Director of the Academic Success Center. We are still planning our bus initiative. We're trying to get rider percentages up. I also worked with the university's marketing team to film a commercial thanking Kent State's frontline workers, so keep an eye out for that. I attended a meeting with the Committee on Health where we created letters for the mental health care packages for the students on campus in quarantine. I am still planning the housing fair with COSA, which will be virtual this year, but consists of a social media scavenger hunt. So I'm really looking forward to that. One thing I didn't, it's not my report, is that I joined the Kent State Transportation Committee, where we will be assessing issues in the future coming to with parking. But I hope everyone else enjoys the rest of their break.
Thank you, Senator Campisi. Senator Gomez, no report. Senator Lauderdale.
Hi, everyone. Recently, I've been meeting with directors in University College to be aware of how I can best assist them. My community exploratory ambassadors have been a huge help in working on some upcoming plans that we have for University College. I'm also currently in the process of working on a furniture request, and new furniture for students in the exploratory living learning community in Lake Hall. I also plan on sending some resources to University College for Thanksgiving break and to assist students going fully online. Lastly, Chaslin and I will be meeting with Dean Pringle soon for a Green Dot University presentation and proposal, hopefully after we come back from Thanksgiving break. Those are all my current updates, and have a safe and fun break, everyone.
Thank you, Senator Lauderdale. Senator Palucci.
Hi, everyone. This week I continued working on the project on Airmark. I met with Gary Goldberg on Monday to discuss moving forward, and he suggested that I reach out to Airmark directly and try and start some sort of dining advising group in order to have student feedback in their company. I think this will be very productive for the remainder of the contract and the semester while I'm here. If they'd be willing to have that communication. One of the biggest projects that I want to work on with them would be the pre-consumer food waste donations. So I'm currently working to make that connection, and I'm also looking at different smaller projects to work on since the Airmark project will be long-term. I'm working on reaching out to the Office of Sustainability to assist in any projects that they have and see what can be done as far as creating a composting system on campus. I was also featured as the student spotlight for the Office of Sustainability's November newsletter, so that was really fun to do. I answered some questions for them, and that's all I have for this week. Thanks, everyone. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Senator Palucci. And Senator Jackson unfortunately had to leave early, so I'll be reading her report. Hi, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well, is continuing to stay safe. Facilitated our first official meeting for the Academic Curriculum Subcommittee of the Anti-Racism Task Force. Had a second meeting with the Academic Curriculum Subcommittee as we discussed our timeline of goals for the remainder of the semester. Met with my committee as we touched base on the subcommittees that have been changed. We brainstormed Native American Heritage Month programming that will be finalized this week. And she hopes that we all finish the semester strong. And intern Alvarino, no report, and advisor factor page.
Hello, everyone. I sent an email out to the group saying that I will be out of the office starting on Monday and will return on Monday, November 30th. You can always use my Calendly to schedule out for the rest of this week if you need to meet up with me or chat with me or when I return as well. I had the opportunity to meet with several members the last couple weeks. I met with Ethan today about the Election Commission, and we hashed out a few ideas, and we're getting a pretty solid ground for the Election Commission, and he may have some updates for you in general orders. And then worked with Director Watkins on the Issa Rae program. Director Nepswe and I are working to order care package items, and I attended the allocations meeting with Director Aguinaga. So happy to see you guys this week. A little bit of time before we get a break, so that's awesome. Thanks.
Okay, thank you everyone for your great reports this week. Moving on to unfinished business, and seeing then we can move on to general orders. So Director Lauer.
I just realized my computer's about to die, so if it should, just continue on. But I'll try and be quick so I can grab a charger. So Megan Factor Page and I met today to go over some of our goals for the Election Commission. So I'll just give you a brief summary and then open up the floor to suggestions. I really do want to make sure that we improve the commission and then adapt it to the circumstances of a virtual election. So any suggestions in those areas are appreciated. I will say that we talked about creating a friendly environment for new and returning candidates, regardless of their level of experience. We talked about being able to partner them with members that may not necessarily be in the role that they are looking for, but can still answer questions on USG, especially members that are not returning. That way they have a neutral outlook on the outcome. We are also looking at enhancing recruitment, retention, and support of candidates who are from traditionally marginalized groups. So that includes continuing Elect-Her and other programs designed for students to get involved and to feel like USG is a place for them because it can and should be. We also want to make sure we're expanding marketing, especially with a virtual election. So that's another goal of ours. We don't have the luxury of being able to stand in classrooms or canvass the campus in a way that we traditionally would, at least not without social distancing and carefully placed signage, things like that. So we want to make sure that we're marketing well, and we'll definitely be on top of that. And then creating clear expectations as well as some examples for students to utilize. So we talked about how when students are asked to produce a platform, do they know what that is? Are they able to do that? So giving examples in that regard, as well as showing them what their commitment is going to look like, especially things that aren't necessarily perceived as being a commitment. For instance, when you're in USG, you obviously have a leadership role here, but plenty of us are leaders in other areas, and a lot of us continue our roles there as well. So making sure that people can manage their time and understand the commitments that they're making is a really good thing. So we're hoping to look into that. And lastly, I've mentioned this throughout it, but again, focusing on transferring to a virtual election also means a virtual petition. So making sure that we can find out, should we maintain the same amount of signatures as last year? What do those signatures look like? We're figuring that out as well. So those are the goals. So I'll kind of run through them again. It is that social justice aspect, in environment and climate, creating a welcoming environment and climate, marketing, clear expectations and examples, and the transition to a virtual process. So those are our 5 goals. And I do intend on dedicating members of the commission to those goals, and not that they would do all the work on them, but that they would make sure in whatever aspects of the election we're performing, that we are remaining true to those goals and expectations for the semester. And obviously we'll stay adaptable. So that is what we've come up with. And I welcome any questions or recommendations.
Okay, thank you, Director Lauer. Does anyone have any questions about the election for Director Lauer right now? Okay, seeing none, that's all we had for general orders today. Do we have anything for new business? Okay, so hearing none, we can move on for the good of the order. Do we have anything for the good of the order today?
I do. I got something really quick. Okay, so I'm going to give you all a breakdown of how tomorrow is going to go as far as this virtual event with Issa Rae. So at 7:45, Megan is going to open up a Zoom webinar in practice mode. And then at 8:10, we're going to do a tech check with Issa's team. So that's going to have like me, my board, Megan, some people from our middle agent and their company and everything. And we're all going to go over how the show's going to go. Then the Zoom webinar waiting room is going to open at 8:25, and at 8:30, that's when I'm going to turn on my video and audio. I'm going to introduce Issa Rae, and we're going to start our moderated Q&A. And the moderated Q&A is going to end at 9:20, and then I'm going to do my outro. And then at 9:25, that's when the Zoom is going to end. So if there are any questions about that, let me know. But that's the rundown of our show tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Watkins. Does anyone have any questions about our program for tomorrow and how it's going to be run? Okay. Does anyone else have any other updates or anything they would like to add right now?
I have something for the good of the order.
Okay.
I just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. and to enjoy some turkey. And if you have ham on Thanksgiving, I mean, we have turkey and ham, but I think that turkey is going to taste a little extra good this year after the year we've had.
Thank you to Director Taylor. Yeah, I'm sure it will be extra good this year, hopefully. Anyone else have anything to add for the good of the order?
It's here. I have a quick update with the care packages. The first round of the care packages, while we are waiting on the orders to come in, have actually been delivered. So students who are going into quarantine and isolation should be receiving them now, along with the handwritten letters. So thank you all for those who volunteered to stuff the care packages as well as write the letters. Our second phase will include our new orders. So once they have that, Thomas, feel free to contact me and then we can pull our set of volunteers together. We have other colleges as well as folks who are in the campus community who are excited to contribute. So thank you all for having a strong connection for that. I think the second round is going to be very, very exciting. And hopefully we can just help students have a better experience in quarantine isolation and know that they're not forgotten and that they're very supported. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Drummer Farrell. I can't wait to see the second round of care packages go out. I'm sure they'll be great. And thank you to everyone who's been working on this. I know you guys put a lot of hard work into that. Do we have anything else for the go of the order today? Okay, so seeing nothing else, I think we can move on to adjournment.
I motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Okay. If you'd like to adjourn this meeting today at 6:45 p.m., please raise your hand or placard if you have it on you. I know we didn't have any other voting today. It's kind of weird. And keep them raised.
Good.
And if you'd like to vote no on adjourning today, please raise your hand or placard.
Good.
Okay, any abstentions?
No.
Nope. Okay, seeing none, the motion passes, and we are adjourned at 6:46 p.m. Thank you guys all for coming today. Hope you guys have a wonderful break. If you need anything from me or Megan, you know how to reach us, but just be aware, we're not going to be responding to you over break. So if you need anything, please let us know beforehand.